weaponized against truth itself.
That's such a timely observation, especially given how social media has transformed public discourse. How do you see this playing out?
Well, let's start with this fascinating metaphor: silence acts as a shield, while speech serves as a sword. In the legal system, that right to remain silent protects you from self-incrimination, but freedom of speech? That's your weapon to challenge injustice.
Hmm. Though I've noticed there's growing confusion about what freedom of speech actually means in practice.
Exactly right, and here's where it gets interesting. According to recent studies, nearly 65% of Americans believe freedom of speech should protect even offensive language, but that same percentage supports consequences for harmful speech. Let's think about that paradox for a moment.
Oh, that's quite revealing about how we're struggling to draw those lines.
And you know what's fascinating? We're not really arguing about silence versus speech anymore. We're debating the boundaries within speech itself. Like, when does uncomfortable truth cross into harmful territory?
Well, that makes me think about how social media platforms handled misinformation. During the pandemic, they had to balance free expression with public safety.
That's exactly the kind of real-world example we need to consider. When Twitter began fact-checking posts in 2020, they saw a 29% decrease in the spread of false claims. But here's the crucial part: some argued this was censorship.
So, how do we distinguish between protecting speech and enabling harm?
Let's break this down into a practical question. What are three key differences between uncomfortable truth and harmful misinformation? Take a moment to think about it.
While people are thinking, it's worth noting that the Supreme Court has actually identified specific categories of unprotected speech.
Right, like direct incitement to violence, true threats, and defamation. But here's what fascinates me: these limitations weren't created to restrict freedom, but to protect it. It's like having traffic laws to ensure everyone can actually use the roads safely.
That's quite a powerful analogy. It reframes the whole debate.
And speaking of reframing, let's look at some global perspectives. In Germany, where they have stricter hate speech laws, they've actually seen higher rates of press freedom than countries with more absolute speech protections. Isn't that counterintuitive?
Those statistics really challenge our assumptions about what freedom looks like in practice.
They do. And here's another mind-bending fact: studies show that unmoderated online spaces actually lead to less diverse viewpoints over time, not more. It's called the paradox of tolerance.
So, in essence, some boundaries actually create more freedom for meaningful dialogue.
Precisely. Think of it like a garden: you need to pull some weeds to let the flowers grow. The real question isn't whether we should have limits, but how to ensure those limits protect rather than restrict authentic discourse.
That brings us back to the responsibility aspect of free speech.